Hello everyone, welcome to GB Bricks. In today's video we're going to have a look back at a classic set from 1988. This is the Message-Intercept base set 6987 from LEGO Space Theme. You had the trifecta of sub-themes back in the day. You had the past represented by Castle, the present represented by LEGO Town, now known as LEGO City, and the future represented with LEGO Space. It was subsequently joined by LEGO Pirates later on, and this sub-theme of space, the Blacktron sub-theme, was a very popular one back in the day and to this day, and this is one of the best known sets from that first wave of Blacktron sets. So what exactly is it all about? Well, let me show you. So here it is then, LEGO set 6987, the Message-Intercept base from 1988, this being from the first wave of the Blacktron sub-theme from LEGO Space. It contained 569 pieces when it released and came with 5 Blacktron minifigures. It's well known for having some of the moulded base plates, the raised base plates with the moon motif going on here, as you can see. And it also came with 2 side builds, being the small craft, the small aircraft, and over there on the right I'm sure you can see the little land buggy or the moon buggy, and we'll look at those in more detail in a moment. So the build itself then is split into 2 parts. You have kind of the hangar bay here where the aircraft is housed, and then you have the Message-Intercept building over on the right hand side there, and there are some play features that we'll look at that do bind the 2 together. It's quite interesting also that you have these tunnels that do connect the 2. As I said, we'll look at that in a moment, because it is quite interesting how it all ties together. Let's look at the left hand side here, the main hangar bay, and the first of the 2 play features are the fact that you can open the roof to allow for the craft to leave the hangar. So you do that by turning this small handle here. As you can see, that will enable the roof to open, leaving a gap for the craft to then leave the hangar. It's interesting that they went with a vertical or an open top design and then had a vehicle that doesn't really look like it needs to fly out that way. Looks like it could quite easily fly forward, but I mean that's beside the point really, and the wings do open up so that it's in full all-range mode, I suppose, and can fly off and fight against the forces of good, as the Blacktron were of course the villains of the piece. Now this mechanic was used prior to this set a year earlier in 1987 in another space set which was called the Cosmic Laser Launcher, I believe, if memory serves. I will flash a picture of that on screen now so you can have a look, but it is a good mechanism and it does work well, and would have led to many hours of fun for any child that was lucky enough to have this set back when it first released. Let's look at the right hand side now then. As I mentioned, there is another play feature, so this is the Message-Intercept tower, if you like, and as I mentioned there is a tunnel here that does connect the 2 buildings, but at the minute you'd have to have very long legs to get across there. But what you can do is, again, by way of a small lever down here, is you can turn that and that will connect the buildings together, creating a passage for the Blacktron members to use, and they can then move through and out back into this main hangar bay. This set really did push the elements of play to higher levels as far as I'm concerned. I know I just mentioned that this particular play feature here had been used before, and there are elements here that have been seen many times or would be seen many times after across the LEGO Space theme, things such as these large windows or big panels that you see here, the kind of quarter circle ones. Again, nice big panels here, but to bring it all together into one coherent build and coupled with the moulded base plates to really create a very interesting landscape to play with as a child, and the fact that you've got 5 minifigures, which was quite generous considering that they are all uniform in terms of how they are dressed. The standard for that time Blacktron soldier, and having 5 of them to start to build some sort of fleet or army or squadron, whatever you want to call it, would have certainly been welcomed. The Blacktron 2 wave, a few years later, did revise their uniforms. They went from having all black with some white printing and detailing to being predominantly white with black arms and having a Blacktron logo on their chests. Let's look at the side builds now then, and the first is that small aircraft that I mentioned a moment ago. Uses quite a traditional for that time method of being able to enter or exit the craft, being a transparent piece that is hinged to open, and again it has the classic printed pieces there for the dials and the intercom systems, and a couple of classic levers to use as controls, as was generally the case with spacecrafts, rather than using steering wheels as they would have done in LEGO town sets of the time. All the pieces on this craft are printed, so you have the 2 that I mentioned a moment ago, plus 1 up the top here, and it of course uses the classic Blacktron colour scheme, as does the base of that black and yellow, with the transparent yellow also used to good effect. The other side build was a small moon buggy which did use the balloon wheels that you would see quite often back then for these types of vehicles. I don't think you get these anymore. If you do, they must be quite infrequent, because it's not something I see very often. Again, using that classic colour scheme, quite a basic build this. Not many parts used, but they are used to good effect, and some nice red detailing on there too. Again, using those transparent bricks to just emphasise a futuristic scheme. Looking at the minifigures then, as I said, there were 5 that came with the set, and they came with a few accessories. You had like a metal detector, a very late 80s looking camcorder. I used to love that piece. All these pieces actually are classic, including the walkie-talkie as well. And they also came with the newer style of helmet, which allowed for a visor to be attached and to open and close quite easily. Moving away from the original LEGO Space helmet, which had a slightly different design, meaning it didn't actually use a visor piece. Now this set isn't quite complete. There are a couple of pieces missing. I will actually tell you the story of how I picked this up now, and that's owing to the fact that I bought a lot on eBay, which was quite, in terms of the pictures I mean, was quite obscured. It was a box, a cardboard box with pieces in. I could see the base plates sticking out, and I could see a lot of black in there, and immediately thought of this set and of Blacktron in general. Obviously you could see the transparent yellow as well, but there are a number of other pieces in there, and there was no mention of any sets it could have been from, and no mention of any, if there were specific sets in there, whether they were at all complete. It was just a buyer's scene lot, and there were actually a couple of other sets that I managed to build out of it as well. I think there were 3 sets in total, one being this space set, one being a pirate set, and one being a castle set, quite strangely. Kind of, you know, 3 of the big brands of that time. And the pieces that are definitely missing from this are 2 dishes that you would have seen here. There were yellow dishes with further small red transparent dishes in the middle, like these here, so they would have gone there. There was one of these transparent windows missing, and I thought I'd replaced it. I ordered one off of eBay which was listed as yellow transparent, but it's actually green transparent. It's not quite the right colour, so I need to replace that at some point. There were, don't get me wrong, quite a few other pieces missing, standard black bricks, you know, slope pieces, that sort of thing, but pieces that are still made today. So I was able to replace those with parts from my parts inventory, so it was not as complete as it looks now. But in terms of pieces that are more difficult to acquire, to only have, what, 5 pieces maximum, I'm not even sure if these are hard to get. These might be okay. The yellow ones are a bit harder in that particular size, and certainly the transparent yellow. But yeah, let's call it 5 pieces then. I'll take that. That's not bad at all, considering the price I paid for the lot. Yeah, no, very happy with that indeed. To summarise, this is a fantastic set. It was then and it is now. It's held up very well. It has that huge nostalgic factor to anyone of my age, and it's quite rightly considered a classic LEGO set from a fantastic theme that, whilst LEGO have flirted with bringing it back, certainly this year with their space kick, they've never really managed to replicate the classic feeling of themes such as Blacktron, M-Tron, Ice Planet, etc, etc. And a few sets of today could really learn something from sets such as these in terms of true play value, whilst also appearing as a very aesthetically pleasing set that could quite happily sit on a shelf and not look out of place. against some of the more modern, adult orientated sets of today. I would love to see a proper remake of this set, think along the lines of the recent Eldorado Fortress, with a brick built base replicating the look of the moon base plates that this set uses. I think LEGO could really do something special with this, and I don't think it's outside the realms of possibility. I mean, they did obviously bring back Blacktron with the gift with purchase, was it last year, I believe? So it's clearly on their minds, but I do worry that the recent space releases have pushed it further back onto a shelf somewhere. A shame, because this is a fantastic theme and one that does really warrant a revisit. So there you have it, there's the Message-Intercept base from LEGO Space, Blacktron in particular, set 6987. What did you think of that one? Apologies, there are a couple of pieces missing, it's not 100% complete, but what a find getting it on eBay that way. Fantastic stuff. And apologies, I could see there was some showing of the ring light in the reflection on the TV where I was showing the base off. Yeah, I did try to make it as soft as possible so it wasn't too intrusive. But yeah, apologies that it's there. I am still trying to get the lighting right in this this setup that I have. I do, if you don't know, have another channel called Switch Up, which is my main channel. So everything is orientated around that, and I kind of have to just do the best I can for this hobby channel with the space that I do have. But I hope you enjoyed that look at this classic set from back in the day. I remember it fondly. Please do consider subscribing, liking the video if you did like what you've just seen, and turning on notifications to really help me grow this channel. It's still in its infancy, and it's very hard when you're at this stage. But yeah, I do appreciate everyone that watches. Thank you very much. There are videos every Wednesday, and there will be occasional second videos some weeks, but every Wednesday at least without fail. Take care, and until next time, happy building.